Hello, all you divine souls, and welcome to the podcast Playing Hide and Go Seek, episode 31. And our topic today is the power of silence, discover stillness within, and quiet and strength. So, welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here today. Jacqueline, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. So I'm Jacqueline Kane. I like to call myself these days low back pain specialist and triple year income coach, using my HEM system, which helps people release the energies that they inherited from their ancestors and their limitations so that they can truly discover and decide how they want to live their life and manifest it.
Beautiful. I love what you do. Thank you, Jacqueline, so very much for being with us today. And Alana?
Hi, everyone. I'm Alana Heim, and my core essence is prosperity alignment. So, all things prosperity start from within you. I call myself the cosmic prosperity activator because you're here to be completely you, present, calm, grounded, ready to create. Not as much manifest anymore as really just be the energy of creation itself and allowing that to flow. So that's what I love to play in, that space of beingness and honoring the self, knowing the self. So to me, this is where we all be unique in this kind of like big pool of energy and people, right? Cesspool of humanity. And how do you stand up? You just shine, show who you are.
Yes, absolutely love what you do. Thank you, Alana, so much for being here. And I'm Sunshine. My playground of business would be Infinity Soul Connection, and I'm a medium and energy healer and soul spiritual life coach. And I love being able to, I believe that we're soul first, and then we have our body and we have our mind. And being here as a soul, we're here to love, to heal, to evolve. And society just keeps us so busy that a lot of times we don't have that connection with oneself. And we have really high expectations that everything outside of us, right, is what fills us up. But actually being fulfilled and living in our truth and within ourselves, then everything ripples out that way. So I love to help support people on reconnecting with themselves, with all the different bodies and systems, and being the best that they can be. If we were perfect, we'd have no desire to be here. We wouldn't have to be here on Mother Earth. So, welcome everybody. So, today we're talking about the power of silence and discover stillness within and quiet and strength. Playing hide and go seek is about your truth, right? And speaking your truth. So, today we're talking about silence, like, oh, what is that? And for a lot of people, when we think of being silent, it's very, very uncomfortable. Maybe we're a little wee, and if anything got silent in the house, that meant a fuckery is going to happen, right? Some kind of an explosion. Or maybe we got the silent treatment when we were younger, or maybe still to today, we're in relationship. And if something isn't, up to par or something's happening, it's the silent treatment. Um, and so we can have a distortion when it comes to silence, right? For a lot of us, it just does not feel comfortable. And silence is something that we have to get used to, that we have to feel within. And it doesn't mean perfection. It's a practice that we have to become comfortable with, especially if parts of us in different depths and different dimensions, when we're younger or even as an adult, silence has made us uncomfortable. There's a lot of people, personality wise, maybe we know when they talk and talk and talk and talk, right? There's no pause in between, there's no silence with them, because they are uncomfortable with silence, right? That they don't want that pause at all. And society has also had a great big piece in silence, right? Society has conditioned and trained us to stay so busy that we don't have that silence to go within. That if we voice or we're seeking or we'd like to do that, then we might have guilt or shame about it. So there's a lot of moving parts with that. And stillness can be very uncomfortable at first, but it has so much beautiful outcomes with silence, right? It's going within. It's knowing yourself. We have expectations that everybody else should know us better than we know ourselves, right? That's a distortion. We have to know our truth. We have to know what aligns with us, what resonates. And where do we get that? We get that from silence and going within. So silence resets the nervous system, right? Breathing. It can give us a pause and calmness and have really positive responses with that. Stillness can uncover our intuition, right? Quiet, it has subtle little nudges and intuition that comes from that can just naturally surface. Silence strengthens presence. People listen more when you're centered and you're aligned and you truly know yourself. You're not going to get as triggered as much in that fuckery from people outside of you if you know yourself really well. Silence creates boundaries. Choosing quiet is a powerful no to noise and obligation. So silence has a lot of benefits, and we'll be sharing personal experiences today to know so you guys can feel right on how being silent has had impacts in our lives. So I thought we could start today with what's a personal story about a time when silence changed your clarity or decision? Jacqueline, would you like to go?
Sure. Let's see. I think so first, I didn't know that being silent was a good thing. I think most people are raised to um, be busy and to do, and that gets so rewarded. So there's this feeling that you have to step up, you have to say something. And then in order to, first you have to be aware you're doing it, right? And then I was told once that I, as a projector in human design, I'm not supposed to be the doer. I'm supposed to sit back and observe and use my energy. And that's when I was like, wow. That was probably one of the first times when I stood back and I'm like, I'm just being quiet now. But first I had to clear that part of me that was like, oh, I can help you, right? I can take you down this path and help you. And when I started doing that, I became aware that when I was going to networking groups and community events, that I would get acknowledged without saying anything. And just like Alana said, it's about who are you being? Because I stopped the pushing that you see me, I got to be seen. I stopped that and really just became who I was. And I think one of the biggest acknowledgments that I wasn't being seen was when I was doing networking groups, and I joined like a board to run a networking group, and we'd have meetings and everybody would give feedback and information. And it happened over and over again. Everything I said, somebody thought somebody else said it. And it didn't just happen once, happened over and over again. And I was like, are you kidding me? I said that. And it, like, I had step up and say, hello, I said that, not that person, until it finally clicked in and to get that recognition. And it's a process really to be able to be quiet during certain things. So I think it's a really important topic. I think we can heal and shift things when we get quiet and we tune into our intuition and ask, what's the best next step? What's the best thing for everybody's highest good, right? Without using our mind and going in there and saying, this is what we should do. And there's not enough people in the world. Too many people are trying to prove their agenda and push it, and it's like too loud. It's like overwhelming for some of us. So yeah.
Yes, I
It's a
love that.
great topic.
And thank you so much for sharing everything that you shared. And it's knowing oneself so we can recognize things on the outside of us. And if we're trying to like push and like in the playground of business or playground of life, or if we don't know ourselves, right, and then people can feel that energy and things are mirrored and reflected and coming back at us. So I love how, you notice things and then you went in and you changed things, and those changes have been working, right? And it was all going within, not doing what normally felt normal that you knew to do, but learning something new and experiencing something new. And then that way, feeling, right? Instead of just, like you say, that head, but actually feeling like at a deeper level and having that knowledge. So thank you, Jacqueline. Woo-hoo. Alana.
Well, I love silence in the sense that I've learned to be silent and not always speak. And yet there's, I would say, so many different perspectives of silence, right? So yes, I could be silent. And then that just like forced me to almost take in all of the noise and the distraction and all the chaos of the world. And then there's silence within, which most humans truly suck at. They don't know silence. They just don't. They can be like, "Oh, I'm silent." Why? Because you're not speaking right now, but how is your mind running right now? Like you're not running your mouth, but you're running your head, and it's just like yelling at you constantly. And then to hear people sometimes talk about that, like my ex-husband, he became more of an alcoholic. And I think really it was because he couldn't quiet his mind. He couldn't get it to be silent. It was just running all the time. And so it was like sometimes hearing those words of like, I just need it to be quiet. I just need to shut it off. Right. And so I hear that a lot. I hear that from clients, people around me, where it's like, why do you drink, or why do you do drugs, or why do you do this stuff? And it's because they're like, I just need it to be silent. Like they do long for that. They just don't know how to create it themselves. And they think they need something outside of themselves to shut it off. And so it's like, I just need it to shut off. I just need to stop. It's like somebody coming home from a work day that was super stressful, and they just need to stop. So to me, like this starts to not necessarily be my world, but I've come to recognize my world is everyone else's world. I don't really have my own world. I feel for everybody else. I see through them. I feel through them. And this is the part where there is no stillness. It's true chaos, because if it's chaotic in here, it's chaotic out here. We just bring that out. So you've got people who work and, go back generations, look at your own families. Where did you see when mom or dad lost their shit? Myself included with my own children, right? Like when do we finally just like blow our lid and get angry and yell, or because we need it to stop. Like we almost just want the world to stop spinning just for that moment. And then if it actually happens, they kind of enjoy it, but they also struggle in it because they don't know what to do with themselves, right? It's like if you just suddenly were thrown into the eye of a storm, right? You were just like in the storm, and now you're like, oh, there's that moment you could, if you're present, you're going to take the deep breath, you're going to let your body land, you're going to settle. And then the moment you do, your head's going to start talking again and go, what's next? Now, what do we do? What's going on? Right? Like, I just think of personal experiences where more and more it's like I've learned to embrace and want more of the quiet, want more of the stillness. To go on our road trip recently, to be camping, to be in nature, to have the quiet, but then to allow me to settle into the quiet and just be, right? And so, I'm kind of on the other side of it all, more and more realizing where the world's like, and I'm just like, okay, let me just be here. That more and more all I want to do is just go sit in my yard and stare at the mountain or watch the clouds go by because I'm just present. There's no chaos going on inside of me, which means I guess I can kind of start to see the world and slow it down and also start to choose what I allow in rather than feeling like I'm a victim of the shitstorm. It's like a
And
choice
can't
to
get away
go,
from it, right? Yeah. I'm
I don't want to
powerless. Yeah.
I don't want to be in the shitstorm anymore. And I think like, but if you think thinking of it for myself, for my kids, my family, ancestrally, right? Think of the generations before. We really believed we had no choice. We really believed that the only choice we had was something external that we had to ingest, imbibe, take in, eat, right? Think of all the stuff that we do to numb ourselves. And really, the power has always been in you. Stillness is there, that 0 point of creation and God, it's in you. And, and I think that's the part where a lot of this is inverted. We don't like silence because we don't understand it. We don't embrace it enough. We don't appreciate it, really. That sometimes there are just those moments of like, let's just pause. It's like playing the quiet game. There was a moment when we were in Lake Louise in Canada, and it was so beautiful. And the twins just kept talking. And Taylor was like, I need you guys to stop, right? I just need to enjoy this moment. And you guys keep talking.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, let's just set a timer and play the quiet game, right? Like, do not talking. And I was like, how long do you want for this timer? And she's like, 10 minutes. And the kids are like, yeah, we could do 10 minutes, And so now the timer's going, it's quiet. I think they made it like 5 minutes, which is decent, right? But how long is the moment? How long do you want to be in that stillness? How long do you choose? And then even for yourself every day, like, are you creating it for yourself? Are you asking or sharing or telling others what you need in that moment? Because I feel like that's the harder part, right? Especially like, how do you wrangle the cats and tell them to stop meowing when they're like, F you, I do what I want. I don't care if you want it quiet. I'm gonna meow right now. And that to me is the ultimate, like, that's the world. The world is constantly like doing what they want to do. And you're like, I just need this. And so sometimes it's hard to even ask for that or just say, hey, let's take a moment of silence. Like, how often do we do that to reflect, to celebrate someone who's passed or to honor, right? We do it in silence. We just pause. And yeah. So my personal experience, working to pause more, to breathe more, to be present, and pull my family into it, so that we're just not lost in the shitstorm that we don't want to be in.
Thank you so much, Lynn. I love everything that you shared. And you started off talking about like how people get that stillness or that numbness, or right, it can be addictions. It can it could be the opposite of that too, on like completely going and going and going until they crash or become not themselves. Um, and so many people are uncomfortable with stillness and silence. And then too, you talked about how if it's chaotic in the inside, that's what we attract on the outside. And by having that silence and stillness, right? You spoke about how we can be in the present moment, take something in, because everything else is bypassing if we're so busy and just doing and, you know, onto others, onto society, or onto how everybody thinks that we should be. And you spoke too about, that you didn't say it was a gap, but like that gap, right, of the godness, of the oneness, or whatever you believe in. It's a beautiful space to be in, but yet we've been conditioned that it's such an like scary, awful, right? You don't want to go there. What does that mean if you go there? And it's at our core. It's who we are. And it makes such a difference on having silence and stillness. And I know that I am totally not myself if I don't get that silence and stillness. I am somebody that absolutely desires it. I'm at my complete best. I have lost a friendship actually from, years ago when the kids would go away. And my partner lived, like he worked in the city years ago when the kids were younger and stuff. And when they'd go away with their dad, it was my silence, it was my stillness, it was my fill up time. And I remember I had a friend that kept texting. And then I finally just texted her and said, I'm doing my silence. And she really, really did not like that. I had to practice my healthy boundaries, but we grew apart, right? And it was so important, right, for me to take that silence and stillness. And it's something that I absolutely love. So you had mentioned, and I had the storm a couple of times, Alana, and there was something else that with a personal story I was going to share today. I remember when we had the Deco tornado here. Oh, you had mentioned victim. So a lot of times when stuff happens in life, we can go into that victim mode, even if we worked a lot through it, or that survival mode. And for me, it was when that storm hit and everything, like life was flashing before my eyes, and it just came so quickly. And then afterwards, seeing the devastation, hearing the wildlife, and like not recognizing our property, but being grateful, grieving and being grateful at the same time. But, laying in bed, and then when something happens traumatic, right, we don't always have control of our thoughts. So if I drifted off because of exhaustion, I was having these like nightmares and different things. So I thought, I got to pull it together. I got to process all of this. But I went in to silent mode, right? I went in and I asked spirit right away and received some answers that took me time to, oh, I did not like the answers, right? We don't always like the answers, but I didn't need it to process that, or I could have stayed in victim mode. I could have stayed in baby steps. I could have, but I asked to see the bigger picture, right? What is the lessons? What is the treasures? What are the gifts? I wasn't ready to receive them as of yet. I had to get to a certain stage. But if I didn't take that time of silence and stillness and go within, I could still be in that same place that I was in 4 years ago, right? So that was a situation that just comes up. Of course, things in life are going to happen, which will go into survival mode or victim mode. But the difference is by going within, by seeking, by silence, and receiving the answers that are within, is we don't, we'll need time to process to get that higher consciousness about everything. But we're not staying in that victim, that fuckery, that degradation, right? We're actually looking at it, and yeah, we're mucking around in it a little bit, rolling around in it, trying to find our way, but we're coming back out. We're, we're healing, moving forward within, we're evolving our soul. And silence has such a huge part in all of that. Um, So where in life do you avoid quiet, do you find, Jacqueline, and why?
Where do I avoid quiet?
Mhm.
Well, um, sometimes when there's things I want to get done as a business owner, and there's things I want to do. And because it's scary to write my book or to get out there and be more visible, I'll create my own chaos. I'm very good at that. And there's a lot of things that fill up my head. And so I have to constantly work at it and constantly, just because we do the work we do, it's not that we're never evolving and growing, right? What's our next level of growth? So it's constant. Okay, what am I not dealing with inside of me that's not putting my needs first? That's not putting my goals first? Um, why are these other chaotic things showing up? And I love the conversations of where did the chaos in the mind start, right? There's chaos in there. And right now, my grandkids are living with us. So watching every moment of them not getting what they want, right? Maybe because it's dangerous for them to climb where they're climbing, or they just can't have what they want. I'm seeing them all of a sudden explode into a major tantrum. So I'm seeing right before my eyes when our beliefs and when the chaotic mind starts. We learn at a very early age whether I can have something or I can't. And then what does that tell me about myself? And am I the victim? Am I trapped? Do I never get to have what I want? And if there's alcohol or drugs involved, then it's exemplified, right? Like it is bigger than a simple little problem. And then how do we stop those habits and patterns? It's constantly looking at what's my belief system. And do I really believe that I can't have it or I'm not good enough? And having the tools to I have to do tools every day, whether it's journaling, tapping, getting outside in nature, meditating, really doing the things that keep me in that high vibration of being able to be silent, to make sure I get the rest I need. Because if I have nights of not sleeping, I'm down the rabbit hole and there's chaos in my mind, nothing's going right. Um, so it can be a constant daily thing of me not having the powerful silence and being in that energy of what's possible, where are we going, what can we create today. I'm not sure if I answered your question, but it's like sometimes it's a constant daily battle.
Yeah. And it is, I do feel for everybody here on the earth, right? And so, yeah, where do we avoid quiet and why? And you had started off with your grandbabies are staying there right now, right? And how you're seeing everything like being instilled at different times. And two, it's probably, not the easiest thing on, if their parents are there, then right, when do you be quiet and when do you say so, like right that
Who's in control?
thin line on everything that we do, for sure, for sure. And we got to really like feel that out in life, right? And you spoke about that first thing when we started talking about when are we quiet? When do we avoid being quiet, right? Like you spoke about, I was saying things and nobody was hearing or feeling me, and they were saying other people were doing it. And, and then, right, like you were like, what? And then you put the pieces together, you connected those dots, and two, you used your voice. And it takes a lot of, we don't just do something once in life and then we got it for the rest of our lifetime. It's something that practices, and we get into different depths and layers and dimensions of oneself with it. So thank you so much, Jacqueline. Alana.
Okay, so this is what started coming through because I was already looking at like there's a hexagram that it represents stillness, and it's the 52nd hexagram, and in the gene keys the highest expression is stillness. And so I had looked at the hexagram, and then I have like this sheet, my cheat sheet of like all the terms, the language that all these different systems would call this energy. And it's Ra, the originator of human design, who actually called this energy inaction, which just like totally blows up the whole concept because it's like, wait a minute, when am I avoiding quiet? When I take action. And it's like, but then I started to also think like what came to me is, when you go fishing, and when I was younger, and I'm not a talker, I'm not like someone who's just going to start talking, right? I love silence. And yet, the moment you're told to be silent, you don't want to be silent. And so it's like to go fishing, you need to be quiet. Why? Because you just got to be still. You got to be one with nature. And so the fish come and then come get that bite and you can catch them. I didn't really like fishing because you just had to be quiet. And now that I'm being told to be quiet, I don't want to be quiet. So I'm feeling like that rebelliousness of who I am. That's like me in a nutshell. You tell me what you want me to do, and I'm like, no. And so if I want to be quiet, that's one thing. But if you tell me to be quiet, like think in school, like stop talking, you get in trouble. And now it's like, ugh, I don't want to be quiet. Why? Because the teacher's telling me I don't want to do that. So like, when do I avoid being quiet? When someone tells me not to be. um, and that there really is like this conflict too. And I've I I've lived the logical do what I'm told world method as well. Like I've been the certified public accountant. I've logically done the things, I've taken the action, and yet there's a part of me now that also rebels that, if stillness and quiet actually is to not take action, then I'm still learning how to blend the two, right? So if the pendulum swings to loud and, action, and stillness and quiet is the other side and it's more inaction, how do we start to swing the pendulum into the center where we're all of it? And I can still be still in taking action, but also not taking action. And so I'm still flushing that out because again, I think right now, the way we've been taught, the way our world is, it's almost harder to be quiet and be in that stillness when the world keeps spinning, life keeps happening, and you're at work and you got to take the action. And it's like, it's learning to take that quick pause, right? It's like breathing before you respond, taking something into a meeting, but like creating your own stillness in the moment. And so it's avoiding the quiet for me is when I'm in the throes of how life has been. And so I've been rewriting that. And so to your point too, Jacqueline, with, it's like almost creating my own chaos. So that I don't have to take the action. And so I don't know, there's just like a lot to unpack there, but hopefully that's helpful for everyone, because again, like if you're still, you're not moving, and yet we're supposed to be still while we're moving. And you're like, but I'm driving a car right now. How do I do that? You know what I mean? And so it's like this thing that I think it's that circular reference, and we get stuck. And I think it's easy as humans to just go, yeah, I'm just going to throw it out. I don't need stillness. Like what you're talking about sounds cool, but it's not realistic or practical in the way of life. So I think we just discount it, we throw it out. Same with silence, right? Like you can't change the world being silent. Like all these things that we've been told that we believe, and I would just encourage all of us to start to realize, where are these beliefs false and potentially not the paradigm we want to be stuck in? And then how do we start to get back to more of this neutrality, or bring both pieces in so that we're all of it? We're not either or. We're not in these extremes anymore, but like we're starting to not swing the pendulum so far. We're all of it all at once. And that is, again, another mind fuck that people are going to go, well, that's not possible. You're either this or that. And I've always been like, no, we're both, like, and so being still in action, or quieting while you're speaking. You know what I mean? It's like, what, starting to see, like, am I quieting the external? Am I quieting the internal? How do I still function? How do I have a conversation with you and hear you and listen right now, versus being in my head talking about what I'm going to say next? You know what I mean? Like, I know people will get that, because that's why most of the time we're not present to a conversation. People are just waiting for you to stop talking. That pause is the moment that they can jump in and start saying all the stuff that their head was already thinking. Meanwhile, they weren't listening. So, so it's, oh yeah, there's a lot here.
Yes. So should I speak right now or should I wait? No, I'm just
I don't know. We could just like have a moment of silence to just.
Yeah, we should have did that in between everything today. But I love how you use that pendulum to describe, right? And how you're talking about it's actually all same thing in the oneness of all things, right? We can be silent, but in action. Because we're filling ourselves up when we're in silence, right? And like you say, there's just absolutely so much there in this conversation. And you were talking about, as soon as somebody's quiet, then the other person talks, kind of thing. And then somebody's in their mind and thinking and thinking and thinking, right? And that's the difference about feeling, right? About, oh, okay, how do I feel with what is being said? But if we're so busy, we can have silence within, with feeling, right? With a conversation or feeling what's being expressed or shared, or instead of thinking. That's that's exactly why the silence in conversations don't happen with certain individuals, is because they don't want that silence in between, right? That the silence makes them uncomfortable. It's the silence of the void or the gap, or yes. So I loved what you just shared, Alana. And I'm just, yes, like it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna talk, but we're doing a podcast. And I was joking around in my heart thinking, oh, when do I avoid quiet? And in the playground of business, right? It's funny because I don't avoid quiet. I do a lot of talking, but then, yeah, I do a lot of silent work too. But what was coming up for me is where I avoid quiet or stillness or silence. I remember years ago, when I was married, and we'd have family gatherings, and we'd have this and that, and it seemed in that preparation and having three kids and organizing everything and doing everything for everybody for them to come together, it would be happening, and my body would just be like, I need to lay down. I didn't understand that years ago about myself, but because of feeling everybody else's things and being busy in all the different bodies and systems and everything, my body would just, after the car accidents. But what I was really doing and what I understand about myself is I was replenishing it, even if it was like for 5 minutes or 10 minutes that I had to step away from everybody, which was probably really awkward or my husband at the time, or the kids, like, okay, mom just disappeared, what, kind of thing. Or I'd say I'm going to lay down, or perhaps everybody knew that. I desired to replenish in my own energy, not knowing that as at the time, right? So that's a tool about, that seems odd, but understanding oneself now, right? I was uncomfortable in doing it. I felt bad, but I had to do it. Didn't understand why. So now through, right, Elena, how you were talking about bringing things together. So in the playground of business, I do talk a lot. My animals have to listen to this and that, and then recordings and everything else, right? But I love my silence time. But for me, emotionally and mentally, and doing that kind of work all day and talking and sharing and recalibrating and opening and closing between each session. So I'm actually in that energy. By the time the end of the day comes, would I ever like stillness and quiet? But as my partner walks through the door, right? He's been working physically all day long. So that physical part is very interesting, right? That physical part of him, he's depleted and everything. But now I have healthy boundaries as far as if I just need quiet time or stillness, or whatever, I'm going to ask him that. He worked in the city for years. We didn't have that, what we have now. I'm like, oh my goodness, you're home. I'm so excited. Or he's so excited to come home. We didn't have that ever. And now we do, which I'm very grateful for. But even if I was tired and needed a break from talking, I have those healthy boundaries now to be able to check in with him, to be able to do maybe what desire to be, to breathe, to sit down with him, right? And then if I feel that I need the silent time, or, he completely supports that and gets that and always has, but just creating healthy moments. Or how you're going to have company, you're really busy, you're preparing, and then the company arrives and you're like, whoa, kind of thing, right? So it's just having that awareness and putting in there too on like, okay, I'm doing all of this, but I'm going to schedule myself to make sure that you have that silence, that stillness in life, because we can make all the excuses, like you had said, Alana, like not to do that, but we're soul first. And up there, there's no time concept. It's just an illusion. It's not true. So our soul doesn't know if we've taken a minute or an hour or whatever, right? To have that reflection, to touch in like, oh, how am I feeling right now? Oh, I feel exhausted or I'm frustrated or whatever it may be. Um, so yes, when we avoid being quiet, right? Maybe we can step into that gap to have, like you were saying, Alana, for things to come together to be able to swing both ways. So thank you, thank you. So what would happen if we took 3 minutes for stillness each day, Jacqueline?
Oh my God, the insights that would come through, the clarity, right? Because we don't listen to our inner intuition when we're busy. That part we push right through it, we ignore it. And we all have an intuitive side. And I mean, life would just get so easy. There would be a flow to it. There would be abundance. There would be so much insight. We really don't need to be busy. It's just the inner fear that shows up. And when you release the fear, the chaos, you get to be. You get to really feel so many times. I mean, I would say what 80 to 90% of the world is living in their limitations, their defensive, what I call voices, right? The more we heal those parts and we bring in those 3 minutes of silence, then we get to listen to our enlightened parts, the intuition parts, oh my God, what's really possible. It's like planting seeds for your future. Um, and that's really powerful. There is a powerfulness to be silent. There was a time, again, 1 and 3-year-olds are busy. You can't get any busier, and I need it now. And they're not great sleepers. Well, they weren't. I'm changing that. So one night I just kept saying, you're sleeping peacefully. You're sleeping all night long. And I just kept saying it over and over again. And they were quiet that evening. So what if we didn't have to say a word, but we can just send it out? First, you're in those 3 minutes of silence. You get a little intuition. You get a little idea. and you start putting it out there. If I never took the time to listen, I never would have gathered all you guys and created the energy medicine solution book. I wouldn't be here today with you guys. We wouldn't be having this conversation because I was too afraid to take the next step. And so people have no idea what's really possible. We're just so small because it feels safe. But there's so much more fun and excitement and possibility out there for everybody. If you took 3 minutes, I love that practice. Just take 3 minutes of silence and really just tune in. I think we should do a challenge around that.
I love everything that you shared. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Thank you so much, Jacqueline. Alana?
3 minutes to take back your power. And the 3 minutes could be one chunk. You could even break it up if you need to start. Could be just a minute over, different parts of the day. Could be while you're doing something. It's like my daughter was baking a cake yesterday for her sister for her birthday today. And there were moments of her feeling stressed. And she would just take a breath, settle herself. And I would say if you're seeking more tools to help you with this, absolutely get the energy medicine solution. In my chapter, I gave you the entire practice of what I call hara. My chapter is all about quieting the mind. So when you can just be very still inside and present and quiet the mind, so much can ripple out and create. And this is why meditation is different, but meditation is also powerful because you're finding stillness. You're finding your ability to quiet yourself. And really that allows for your intuition to become heightened. It's those moments of me being in hara where I can be in traffic and suddenly just have this knowing I need to go this way. And maybe I'm then avoiding other situations. Things will come to you. And so, yes, taking back your power, claiming more of your stillness brings you into coherence. So there's less chaos. And even when the chaos starts to come in, it's like you're the Jedi with this force field around you that says, no, you could stay right there. I'm going to still be calm and I'm not going to let that shitstorm come and splatter me because I'm good. So 3 minutes. I know you got this. You can start small. You can build up to it. And it's so minimal in the amount of time that we have in a day.
Love it, love it, love it. Whew. And then too, right? Like you say, even driving, yes, we're moving, but we can still have silence and stillness when we're driving, and still be in motion. Like I remember, I worked with abused women and children for years and years, and had 3 kids. But the drive home was my silence. It was my fill-up time, right? It was the stillness that I was able to get in. So we can get it in. We just have to be creative with it. And like Alana just mentioned, to get used to it. It doesn't have to be 3 minutes in a row. We can break it all up, but there's so much to receive that way. So I love stillness. And silence. I am not myself. If you want to see crusty sunshine, or I have had my silence time. It opens us up to receive, right? We don't take the time, and that's what we're doing. We receive this beautiful vehicle to be here on Mother Earth, as she has us here as a guest, but we receive this to come here. And then from there, we got it all ass backwards with all the conditioning. We think we got to give and give and give. But that silence allows us to receive. And silence also can give clarity, it can give joy, calm. Again, resets that nervous system, right? Even by the silence of breathing, right? Or just giving gratitude for your breath. Um, that can do so much for our nervous system. And everything can shift once we have silence and stillness for oneself. And we can be in the present moment as of now, and that being, Alana, that you were talking about. It brings to me curiosity and wonder and surprise and a zest and joy for a blissful life. It grounds us, renews our energy and our life force. And it can reveal a lot of things, right? That can keep us hiding or that we may be avoiding, right? It's that intuition. So when I choose silence, I come back to myself calmer and more alive and more fulfilled and more anew. I believe that we're energy. And I believe we all know that we're energy here, vibration and frequency. And there is no way we can remain the same from when we hopped on this call, from when we woke up this morning, right? We're constantly changing. So thank you, everybody, for being here today. And I hope everybody makes some time for some silence and stillness today. So thank you. Is there anything anybody would like to add going out for today? We're all good. Taking that silent
Just
time.
take baby steps. Even if
Mhm.
you're not used to, just take a baby step and see what
Yeah.
happens.
Yes. Well, thank you. Yes, if we were perfect, we wouldn't be here. And like you say, Jacqueline, take baby steps, right? We can stick our toe in and then our foot and get up to our knees kind of thing. And if it's something that really resonates and aligns, because it can take, we have, we're misaligned when, if we're doing that inner talk inside of ourselves, and then our brain's thinking something else, and then we're voicing something else, right? That's where the chaos. And the more silent time we take, the more we can align and we can live in our truth. So thank you, everybody. Have a magical day. Enjoy all moments, and sending
Bye,
lots of
everyone.
love.
I
Goodbye.